butter block. In order to do that, you'll have to have one full sheet-sized pan piece of parchment paper. That's 16 inches by 24 inches. And we're going to be making an envelope for the butter. So you'll fold it in half. So that you have 12 by 16. Then you'll want to mark down 3 inches from the top and 3 inches up from the bottom on both sides. And then fold your parchment paper at those marks. Making sure to have nice crisp edges. Finally, from the open end, you'll measure 2 inches down. And fold that down. You will end up with a 10-inch square envelope. Now we can set that aside while we work on our butter. I'm using a digital scale here. It's really the best way to measure when you're baking. It's much more precise than using volume measurements such as with measuring cups. And so all of my directions will be in grams according to weight. These are pretty inexpensive and you can get them a lot of different places, Amazon, cookware shops, etc. So I've got it turned on. This is my KitchenAid mixer bowl. All I have to do is hit a button to tare it. It will bring it back down to 0. Now I need to measure 567 grams of good quality unsalted butter. I like to use Kerrygold. It has a nice consistency and nice flavor. And it's pretty widely available here in the United States. Just cut that into pats. 567 grams will be about 2.5 of these Kerrygold packages. This butter should be pretty firm. I took it out of the refrigerator just before starting to make my parchment paper envelope. You don't want it softened. One of the important points about making croissants is that the butter be cold. Otherwise it'll melt during the rolling and folding process. Now that we've measured our butter, we're going to bring it over here to the KitchenAid and use the paddle attachment. And we're going to mix at speed 1. We're trying to combine all the butter together but not soften it. We will need to scrape it down periodically. I found one of these little icing spatulas works very well at getting in there and getting the butter off. One more time, get all the bits of butter off of the paddle. Okay, I think this is good. Like I said, we don't want to overwork the butter and have it melt within the process. And I'm being careful to scrape every bit of butter that I can off of this paddle. You don't want to lose any of that. Okay, now that we have our butter slightly softened, it's time to roll it out into our butter block. So we'll open up that parchment paper envelope that we made before, and we're going to scrape all of this butter onto one of these 10-inch squares. That's why a plastic scraper like this really is worth it. They only cost, I don't know, $1 or so at a fancy kitchenware shop, as little as 30 to 50 cents at a restaurant supply store. It's definitely worth picking up a bunch of these. They work great for other baking needs, like scraping out cake or cookie batter, for example. Okay. Now we have all of our butter on our parchment paper. Don't wash this bowl. We'll be using it again, and we want to leave that butter in there. So now that we have the butter in there, we quickly press it down enough so that we can fold the parchment back and line up those fold marks so that we can fold it back into an envelope and then flip it over, and now we're ready to roll. No pun intended. So you just want to roll the butter within this 10-inch space. You may have to adjust it, the parchment, as you're working on it. And if you need to, you can do that a little bit. And then start rolling. Make sure you get it into the corners. And you get the butter as even as possible. You don't want thick and thin sections in this. Got one corner full. And our butter block is finished. Now it just needs to go into the fridge to chill.